Mm. All right. So you're on a sales call and things are going really well. You're diagnosing your prospect's problem to the T. You're painting this beautiful vision of what the happy ending would look like if you and this person, potentially work together. So at the point where you drop your offer, you drop the investment amount, they're ready to commit, you hear the dreaded phrase, I still need to talk to a couple other options, or maybe I'm talking to a couple other people. I want to, listen to what they have to offer as well. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I hear that, I always get a really nasty feeling in my stomach. Like it drops. I feel uncomfortable. I feel like this weird feeling in the back of my head where it gets cold, or maybe my hairs start to rise up. Anyway, what's happening right now, or what's happening in this objection, is actually not an objection of price. What's truly happening is what is called a perceived sameness objection. And in this video, I want to show you exactly how to break out of it. By the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Emmanuel. I am the founder and kind of chief talking head guy here in this cool little part of the internet, as well as running and operating a cool little consulting group specifically designed to help solopreneur service providers grow and scale their business using systems. And this particular objection, if you're still doing sales, I'm sure you're hearing this. And what I want to do is I want to show you what the playbook looks like in order to paint the correct vision of how you approach solving your prospect's problem so that you don't get the I need to look at other options objection anymore. By the way, uh, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you actually a script that I like to use to really diffuse this objection. And I should also add, before I get into the good stuff, I always share some really, really cool workbooks to kind of break down my kind of thought process and philosophy behind approaching and attacking this problem. So if you're interested in downloading the workbook that is going to be reviewed in this video, in the link below this video, go ahead and click it. You can download the workbook from there. All right. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what's truly going on here. Now, the best way to frame what's going on, let me just talk about some real world experience. So, back when I was very, very early on in my business, I was just selling web development. At the end of the day, selling web development, you're a commoditized service. There's one in a million. Well, maybe that's a little bit over an over exaggeration, but there are a lot of web developers out there. And I should also add that there's a lot of web developers out there that are probably charging pennies on the dollar just because the dollar goes so far in their country. Like, for example, in India or in Asia, like it's a pretty commoditized service if you're trying to compete with them, or at least what I was trying to do was to compete with them. And in doing that, what was happening was it was kind of the first to the bottom. Whoever charges the cheapest wins. And when you're charging charging the cheapest, you're not actually winning. What ends up happening is you end up losing money. The cost to acquire that client is probably going to far exceed the actual price of the contract. So fast forward a couple years, I was really struggling trying to fix this problem, and then I hired a coach. His name was Greg, and he came up and presented this really great idea called a productized service. And the idea behind a productized service, real simple. We want to sell an outcome, and we want to create a roadmap for an outcome versus just selling the bells and whistles, the gears and sockets of being able to produce a deliverable, in this particular case, a website. And the truth be told, once he kind of presented this to me and I kind of sat with it, it just immediately unlocked a plethora of new opportunity and a new way to approach actually not only selling my service, but delivering on my service as well. And it's also the magic secret sauce to effectively remove ourselves from the business. So it's really exciting stuff. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. I want to show you exactly how this works. Okay, to help you understand how a productized service works, I first want to start with a very simple analogy. Actually, let me take this off the screen and let's talk this analogy for a minute. Let's say, for example, I wanted to go grab a steak. Now, if I go grab a steak at any old diner, it'll probably cost me 30, 40, $50. But if I went to a fine dining five-star, Michelin rated restaurant, uh, that exact same steak that I would order probably wouldn't be 30, 40, $50. It'd probably be like $300 or $500. Now, why is that? Well, it's simple. It's because at that point, I'm not actually paying for the steak itself. What I'm actually paying for is the chef. I'm hoping the chef has a plethora of experience, many, many years of being in the kitchen. And hopefully they'll be able to curate a really great journey of flavor and texture so that by the end of this process, I'll be able to leave this restaurant really, really happy, really, really full, and hopefully wanting to either refer more people to this restaurant or return to this restaurant. Now, let's take that exact same analogy and let's plug it into your business right now. Now, the idea is quite simple. We want to take our unhappy clients and we want to bring them to their happy place. Now, the truth and the reality of this all is that it is never a straight line to get there. Instead, what it typically looks like is something a little bit more like this. There are a bunch of left turns and right turns, but eventually we're going to be able to get to them, or they're going to be able to get to their happy place, to the goal. Now, here's the thing. Here's the really, really cool part. You see, you already know what the left turns and right turns are to get them to their destination, because chances are you've done this before already previously, either through educating yourself on how to do this, or maybe you've already helped clients that are in a very similar situation get them to their happy place. So what I'm proposing is something very, very simple. So check this out. What if we take all of your beautiful IP, your turn-by-turn directions, and instead of just offering yourself as a service, let's package up that IP into something that looks a little bit more like this. Let's call it a program with maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps that gets our unhappy prospect to their happy place. Now, when we present something like this, there's a couple of really great outcomes. Number one is that you're able to take any unhappy client, put them through the exact same assembly line, and they're always going to be able to output the exact same result. This is the process of systemization. That's big outcome number one. Big outcome number two, or big byproduct of doing something like this, number two, is that at the end of the day, uh, when we present the solution, the end result, people are more inclined to buy into that. Because listen, at the end of the day, people don't care about the ingredients, they only care about the finished result. And what that essentially means is that in my world, when I was doing this, I was just selling like, hey, I'm going to design your website. Hey, I'm going to program out your website. But that's not actually selling a result. If I sell a result of, hey, I'm going to build you a marketing lead generation system that guarantees you 100 plus leads every single month, like that's a result. People don't care about the ingredients of me doing brand building or building out a website. Like that's the secret sauce to this. When we can sell the vacation, the happy ending, and not spend too much time in the minutia of how we're going to get there, it becomes a lot easier for us to separate ourselves from the rest of the market and hopefully position ourselves to not have to deal with the objection of, I need to talk to some other people. And that leads to big byproduct number three of productizing your service, which is at the end of the day, people trust programs more than they trust people. I know it sucks to hear, but it's the gosh darndest honest truth. Like at the end of the day, if you really think about it, people are more inclined to trust the program because they believe that a program has delivered more and better results than me just trusting Joe Schmo on the street. And last but not least, when you productize your service like this, you're able to essentially define what the definition of done is at each step. And if you're able to do that, it becomes very, very easy to start delegating out each step. So let's say, for example, maybe it's you doing your initial, discovery call with a prospect or a client, but the onboarding can maybe be done by somebody else. The intake forms can maybe be done by somebody else. Maybe the setup can be done by somebody else, or maybe even AI. But essentially, what it means is you just jump in on various steps of the process, and you have delegation through either a person, program, or process in order to create the result. And my friends, magically, and let me put some special emphasis on this, my friends, magically, this is how you remove yourself from the business. Okay, I'm hoping that this is making a ton of sense so far. So just to quickly recap, chances are if you're hearing that really horrible objection of I'm looking at other options, it's because of an idea called perceived sameness. You've not differentiated yourself from everybody else. So the way that we do that is that we productize our service. We offer a roadmap and we sell the vacation, we sell the finish line. Anyway, having said that, chances are you're probably still going to encounter this objection. So this is a cool little script that I like to use to overcome this objection. So check this out. When you hear that, you know what, I need to look at other options. Totally fair. When you're saying I need to talk to other options, but I'm just kind of curious, what do you actually mean by that? I just want to see what else is out there. Cool. Well, it sounds like that you need to do a bit of due diligence. Totally respect that. But is there anything specific that you're hoping to find that you did not hear from me? And chances are there's not really much. So, and if they do say something, then you can handle that objection. But if they don't say much, then you can say, so outside of just comparing options, is there any other reason you wouldn't feel comfortable moving forward? And that, my friends, is where we unlock the true objection, if there really is a true objection. All right, so how many other people that are offering the service are you looking to talk to? And what's your timeline to decide? And then obviously they're going to give you some sort of answer. And then from there, you can go into when you look at these options side by side, how do you decide? Is it based off of price? Is it based off of fit? Is it based off of results? Like really kind of narrow down, like what is the decision making process for them? Help them identify that because chances are they probably don't know what that is yet. And then once they give you that information, just agree with them. Yeah, totally. But I'm guessing you also don't want the cheapest option out there if it means weak results or wasted time, right? Yeah, absolutely. So if you believe that I can get you results and the price is fair and you trust that I've got your back, what are you actually hoping to hear from other people that you did not hear from me? And then this is going to help you identify what exactly if they haven't identified it yet, what they're truly looking for. And if you did your job right, you can probably end with something like this. Like, listen, hey, I know I'm not the cheapest out there, but I'm here to get the work done right and actually get you a result. So, uh, are you interested in just moving forward and knocking this out today? And then remind them about your guarantee. You should have some sort of guarantee, some sort of way to get out if they didn't like the service. In my world, I have a 30-day love it or leave it money back guarantee. But drop that guarantee to make sure that whatever happens, whatever transpires, um, they have an exit strategy. Because you know, really great mentor of mine put it to me like this, and it goes something like this: listen, at the end of the day, in order to make a solid decision for yourself, you have to make the most informed decision possible. And the only way to make the most informed decision possible is to actually try the thing. That's why I highly recommend having some sort of guarantee. That way they can actually try the thing. All right. If you enjoyed this video here and you want to learn a little bit more about handling some other objections, then I highly recommend you check out this video right here. It should be over here somewhere, or maybe over here. You get the idea.